Hello and welcome to this week's episode of a series of conversations. This week I'm chatting to Coach Jay McKeague. Hi Jay.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well indeed. So Jay, why don't you tell me what you do?
Well, I'm an empowerment coach. I mainly work with children and parents because obviously we know that's the glue that sticks everything together and the parents. So at the moment, I run weekly groups which is called the Empowerment League. So we cover things such as fleeting happiness, where we feel our emotions, all based on. I take a lot of stuff from emotional intelligence, but also some stuff that I learned from the personal development world, and I've just respun it so children get it, because I like to put it this way. I like to teach children a lot of the skills that many adults learn late, because I found this really beneficial. I have a 10-year-old son
Mm.
who is home educated, and we do a lot of that stuff, and I've seen such a massive change in him that I wanted to offer that out to everybody. So
Mm.
that's kind of a little bit about what I do.
So are you talking about emotional intelligence? Yeah.
Yeah, we learn a lot of stuff about emotional intelligence. Yeah, I think that's quite a really important skill that children and adults really need.
Can you give me an example? What sort of thing you might
Uh,
talk about?
so we basically start off with where we feel our emotions in our body, because I like to explain to the children that, like their iPad, because a lot of them are in technology, like your iPad, the battery thing, we talk about why that flashes when the battery's dying, because that's a sign to let you know that you need to take action. And your body does that also. Like when you're angry, you might feel it in your hands, and that's a sign that actually I need to do something, because a lot of us adults, and I did it when my son was younger. We kind of give them the impression that that's wrong to be angry. It's not wrong to be angry. It's almost what they're doing with that anger, and there are safe things that they can do to express that emotion that isn't going to hit your brother or stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So I just like to teach them it's not wrong, but we can't do that things, but we can do this. So it's
Yeah,
all about that, really.
you can have the emotion, it's the associated behaviour that's the problem.
That's right.
Oh, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. So if we go right back to Jay leaving school, what did you do?
When I left school, I kind of got lost along the way of what I wanted to be and do. I finally found myself working with children who have special needs and autism. So I did that for about 13 years,
Gosh.
working in a respite kind of place with children with special needs. And then I worked in an autistic school as well as a teaching assistant, and moved up to a high level teaching assistant. And that's where I kind of learned lots of different skills that I still use today, like patience and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And how to communicate in different ways. Um, and then I left that job because my wife has a disability which required me to help her a bit more. And obviously, my son was having some struggles with school, so we took him out of school. And then I kind of went through a journey of having severe anxiety from all the plates that I was juggling, as adults do sometimes. And I didn't want to take tablets, so I thought, what can I do? And a lot of people have always said that I'm a little wise, and I was like, hmm. So I wondered what life coaching was, because a lot of people don't actually know what it is even now.
No.
And you don't just go to a life coach because you have a problem. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people, I think, associate a bit like counseling maybe, and they think you have to have a problem, because I didn't actually know what it was. But I went through these courses, and I did several courses, and then obviously the reason I went to the children was because my son was dealing with a lot of stuff in school, and he didn't have the skills to actually deal with it. And I thought, this helped me so much. How about I just try and teach him some of the stuff that I learned? And the change was amazing, because adults, we get it quickly, but children, they get it even quicker because they haven't got all these beliefs yet instilled in them. So they're quite open. And when I talk to them about some of these subjects, some of the stuff they come out with is just has me taken back, like, wow, that is so wise. And it's just about letting them know that they have a voice, and I just hold the space for them. And some children just like to talk and tell me about their day, and it's just having someone to listen. And I guess that in adult coaching, I find that quite powerful as well, because a lot of us, we don't listen. We like to give people advice and try and fix them, but nobody's broken. So it's just about holding that space. I find that really, really powerful.
I think with coaching in general, as the coachee, as the client, having somebody just listen to you for an hour, for a whole hour, is, well, it's something that very, very rarely happens. It's an extraordinary thing because it isn't ordinary. You know, we are usually battling to be heard, and so that kind of deep listening that coaches do, it can be really profound, but adults and children alike.
Definitely.
To go back to what you said about people don't know that there are what a life coach is. Um, I think it's safe to say that very, very few people actually know what a coach is. And I would say that the issue is that 95% of them think they know exactly what a coach is, and they're all wrong. And because I've been asked, oh, you're a coach, what, netball? Which made me laugh as somebody who set fire to my trainers when I left school in the 80s. I've also been given a business card by a taxi driver who said to me, oh gosh, look, we're in the same business. And I kind of looked at this card for ages thinking, what does he mean? And I thought, no, I'm not a coach driver, which was one of the funnier ones. But the other common misconception, I think, with coaching is that people think you're going to tell them what to do. And so a common kind of a thing that you hear said about life coaches is, why should I pay you to tell me how to live my life? Your life doesn't seem to be that bloody wonderful. And it's like, nah, you've missed the point. I'm not going to tell you anything. And trying to describe the process of coaching to people can be really counterproductive, because they're like, well, why do I want you to listen to me? Why do I want you to ask me questions? And so the secret is to talk about outcomes. So let me ask you, what kind of outcomes do the children that you work with get?
We've had, obviously, we deal with a wide variety of things, but a few that come to mind are that there was a little boy that was very scared of going to bed on himself but we did an exercise about lying, about being brave. And after we did that, he was going to bed on himself. And mum was amazed. And I'm always amazed by how quick this happens.
Mm.
Obviously, everybody's different, but I had a little girl who had anxiety, and we had one session and we just talked through a few tools, and we talked about the outcome she wanted, and I gave her some ideas to go away and try, because obviously with children you tend more to help them out with the ideas rather than an adult. They kind of find the answers in themselves. So she went away, and then the following week she came back, and it was amazing. Her mum actually sent me an end of year school report, and everything in her school report was about how she'd grown in confidence and she was dealing with her emotions better. And her mum just put a message to me saying, read this out loud, because this is because of you. And that's just such an amazing feeling to actually have children. And like with my own son, I've noticed the confidence in him. He lost confidence in adults and children. Now we've got him integrating back into after school activities. Obviously he's not in school, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
after school. So it's just amazing. I've seen the change in my own son. So to be able to do that with other children, and I'm actually working with a mum and daughter at the moment. So we're working together as a team, because mum's realizing that if she changes some of the things she's doing, it's having a real big impact on her daughter. So we're all working together, a bit like a triangle, to actually empower them, because it's just amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. So what was it when you found coaching? Okay, so you know, we're coaches. We all find coaching at some point, and we go, "Oh my word, this is absolutely incredible." In fact, it's so incredible, I want to go and train to become a coach. So, what was it that happened for you that made you say, "This is it. I found my thing. I need to go and learn more about this."
I think it was like I mentioned about going through my anxiety journey, and kind of not wanted to go on the tablet. So I kind of just thought, what can I do with my time? And like you say, there's so much wisdom in the coaching that I learned, and I learned a bit about NLP, and I've done a bit of hypnotherapy, and they're all just so amazing. And you think, wow, there's so many simple tools. Obviously, you need to be consistent, that people just don't see. And it's just like, I want to highlight this to people. And then I was putting stuff out there for children, and I recently, like 7 months ago, graduated as an accredited coach from Mindful Talent. So I'm just pivoting and learning along the way. and impacting children's lives. And whether that's through their parents, through adults, through teachers, or through themselves, that's my why, yeah.
And so have you done any work in schools?
Not yet, because I was planning to put some stuff together for schools, and then COVID hit,
Yeah.
and then everything moved online. So that is on my radar, but I
Mm.
haven't as yet.
Okay. What kind of things do you think you'd be able to structure for schools? I'm interested to know how you would organise it.
Um, I think depending on what the school wanted, because there's lots of things I can offer. I have a storybook which hopefully by the end of the year I'm self-publishing, which is for younger children, which
Mm.
has a few tools in it, and I have a few characters which my wife made me. So this is all built the affirmation alien. I have a few characters which do different things, and we have a little rocket called Reggie who finds things a little bit difficult, and the other characters help him out. So I have that for younger children because I really would like to reach young children as well, but in schools, covering growth mindset, because that's a really good tool for children to have. Working about emotions and just the kind of the stuff that I'm doing in the Empowerment League, but with the schools, because I think that would really help out to regulate children's emotions in school. Because obviously, working in an autistic school with 7 children, I know how hard sometimes it can be for teachers with 30 children in a class. So if we can teach them some tools that they can use for themselves, I think that would really benefit in school and out of school.
Behaviour management, basically, personal behaviour management.
Yeah.
Mm. That's okay. So I'm sitting here thinking that's really cool to be able to impact classrooms full of children. So can you give me an example of your little rocket? Did you say it was called Reggie?
Yeah, I've got him here somewhere.
That's gorgeous. That's absolutely gorgeous. So what kinds of things can you do with little kids with Reggie?
In my head, because obviously working with the autistic children, they're quite sensory. So I
Mm.
have some ideas about having different smells and different sensory items, like a bit of a cloth and a bit of something. So it's rough. What emotion would rough feel, and see, and colors and just stuff like that, so they can actually really connect through actually touching and feeling and smelling to their emotions. Because I find myself the smell of lemon just can't even speak, uplifts my mood.
Yeah.
So I really would like to teach that. And I think with young children, there's so much like this is what I'm looking forward to doing, getting out there into schools, into playgroups, out into the world. Because at the moment, I'm managing to hold children's attention over Zoom, which is quite tricky at times.
Which is
And
amazing.
parents come back to me with, wow, Jay, you have so much patience. How do you manage to hold their attention for 45 minutes on Zoom? So I think that kind of makes me feel good, because if I can do that there in face to face, it's going to be really fun and amazing.
You just asked a question there that kind of stopped me in my tracks. Um, what does rough, what emotion is associated with the feeling of rough? And I thought, oh, I've never thought of that before. What feeling would I associate with rough? And I thought, is it cross? No, I don't think it is. And I stopped listening to you because I was busy thinking, what emotion would I associate with rough? And thank you for giving me something to think about today.
It's
I
powerful,
shall.
isn't it? Because even on, like, when I'm working with the children about where you feel your emotions in their body, when I first did that, I was like you. I was like, oh, where do I feel? Anger's a quite an obvious one, but when you get to like happiness and some of the other emotions, you're like, oh, where do I feel that in my body? Because we probably miss signs in our own body just like children do. So yeah, it's quite amazing.
Actually, I'm thinking about that. And I am not somebody who cries. Very rarely cry. Not because I'm particularly tough. It's just that's not one of my go-to emotions. My daughter, my eldest daughter, oh my word, cries all the time. If she's happy, if she's sad, if she's excited, whatever she's doing, she cries. Me, not so much. But if I am going to cry, which happens very rarely, I feel it here. Until
Yeah.
you said, where in your body do you feel it? I hadn't actually thought about it. But that's what they mean when they say you got a lump in your throat, isn't it? I wonder why we feel it there. Do you know why?
I personally would think maybe to do with the chakras because there's a throat chakra, and maybe because it's something you need to voice out. That's my take on it.
Yes, of course. I'm going to have to go away now, think about all the different places. Go make a map. So what's in the future for you, Jay? Where do you see what you're doing going forward?
If I'm talking about my big goal, my mission, my
Your
absolute top goal, it's to open like an American holiday style camp where we can all just be silly and we can all learn all this stuff, just having fun. And because I find a lot of the lessons, especially I do with my son, don't happen sitting around a table. They happen when we're out, when I can teach him. So I'm really looking forward to doing that with other children and parents, and really showing some of this stuff when they're out, because that's where it's like when children are playing and coloring, and that's when you get the real good stuff out of them, and adults as well. So it's powerful. But that's my big goal, to move somewhere here in Wales with lots of land that I can actually start making that happen, because I just think it would be wonderful.
That sounds great. And how about in the medium term between now and then? What's your
In the meantime, I'm currently, like I say, running an empowerment league. I run that twice a week for children, for, like I say, for 45 minutes, where we come together and see. People ask about what age that's for, but it depends on your child, because I've had children on there that are 4. Do you know what I mean? It just depends. And I was having a session the other day with a little boy who's 4, and we were just having the best time ever, because I don't know, they just talk to me about dinosaurs, and then something will come in my head, and I'll just manage to talk about what I'm talking about, but referring to a dinosaur. So it just comes naturally to me. It's just amazing. I'm actually running an event on Facebook at the becoming beginning of August with another 5 coaches, which is a free event if people want to come over and check that out, because yeah, it's on the theme of freedom. So that should be quite. And I'm working in that event. I'm actually going to be talking about stuff to do with children, because everybody else is covering the adults.
and how would you find that?
There's a link to the Facebook page, or I think if you search 5 Days of Freedom into Facebook, it should come up. But if you're following me on Facebook or Instagram, I'm always, the links in my bio on Instagram and on Facebook, I'm always popping it out, so they can
Okay,
find it on
and
there if they're interested.
Jay McKeague on Instagram.
Yes,
Okay, so simply search for your name. We'll find you.
yes, you should do. You'll see a nice funky picture of me as a cartoon, so you'll know it's me.
Fantastic. Jay, we have reached the end of our time here. So thank you so much for your time. Good luck with your work with children. And just to remind everybody, it's, did you say 5 Days to Freedom
5 Days to Freedom, yeah.
on Facebook? And if you're looking for Jay online, search for his name, Jay McKeague. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much.